Hey everyone, Summer668 with another video, and today we're going to be doing the dropper one more time with, I got you, with Catboy YT, which is the same person as Benton. He just changed his game tag.
Help, I'm down here.
I got him.
Teleported Catboy to Samuris Lies.
Okay, you ready? So I'm going to go first, then he's going to go. We're going to try and complete the first level of the Mega Dropper. I've got this. First try, first try!
Samuris Licer
Okay, your turn.
338 fell from a high place. Catboy fell from a high place.
Second try, second try, second try.
Samuris Licer 338 fell from a high place.
Second try.
Ah, with a zombie!
Wait.
Oh, I didn't even try and fall. Hey, you, stay away from Steve, boy. Okay, can you hear? Okay, talk a little bit louder so everyone can hear you.
Okay, the zombie is now dead. Janae, turn down the TV. We're making a video.
Okay, up, up, and away.
You gave your parents your real number?
They want to know why we're not watching them at our house. Tell me the truth.
Woohoo!
Samuris Licer 308 fell from a high place.
Go with that one?
Teleported Catboy to
Ready?
Samuris Licer.
Set. Second one. First try, first try, first try.
You did it on the first one? Okay, I got this. Do it.
Yeah, first
I
try.
didn't think I would make it because I was so close to the edge.
Okay, now we need the third one. Let's go.
Gift and a curse.
Dropper.
I definitely can't meet your parents tomorrow.
They don't have a choice this time. My mom and dad want to come to the grand opening of their business. They said if you don't show, I can't see you anymore.
What? Why are they being such babies about this?
Samuris Licer 338 fell
it's
from a high
really
place.
hot.
You have to go all the way back up.
Yeah.
Please, don't give them an excuse to break us up.
Fine. I'll teleport your
Teleported Catboy to Samuris Licer 338.
I was looking up.
Catboy fell from a high place.
What was that?
Oh, that's what.
You just fell down. Ew, okay.
Okay. Now that's right there.
Now let's go. Okay, let's go.
What's happening? Okay.
And now we set our spawn point in. No, I don't want.
A Pokemon.
Set the world spawn point to 2,907,
Okay, I go
105,
first, remember.
minus 7.
Go, 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 go. We're in the middle, in the middle.
Samuris Licer 330 from a
Hello.
high place.
Hey, why does zombie have to hit me? Kill it. The zombie let me go. Go in.
Catboy fell from a high place.
My turn. Ready, set, go. Yes, I did it! I did it!
A little intense. I mean,
When I got this, I got this. Go, 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 go. Yes.
Nice.
Try.
Second try.
I cannot lose her.
Mr. Cunningham, you are as wise as you are fashionable.
Phoebe. Phoebe.
Phoebe, need some help. Max, I'm literally in the middle of the tour right now.
I'll finish for you. Those are the lockers, beds upstairs, and that's the nurse's office. She smells sick.
What's wrong with you?
No, I have
Woohoo!
What are you doing?
Samuris Licer 338 fell from a high place.
that would help you.
No targets matched. Select.
I'll keep quiet so I don't say anything insulting, and you charm them with your goody two-shoes nonsense. And since we're twins,
Teleported to Samuris Licer 338.
lying. That means you're not.
Okay, wait a minute. Go back. Okay, no! Ah.
It fell from a high place.
Okay, my turn.
Samuris Licer 338 fell from a high place.
Hallelujah!
Samuris Licer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy fell from a high place.
Ah.
As for Alice,
Samuris Licer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell place.
Hey, stop cheating.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
Yeah, you are. You're falling on the
Samurai
blocks. That's
Slicer
cheating.
338 fell from a high place. Samurai Slicer fell from a high place.
No, no, no.
Catboy, it fell from a high.
Ah,
Samurai Slicer 300 fell from a high place.
now we're just gonna go crazy.
Catboy,
It doesn't
fell
matter. We're
from
not
a high
taking turns
place.
anymore.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Samurai
No.
Slicer 330 place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Catboy,
Oh, I
it
did.
fell
I
from a
did.
high
It just like
place.
glitched there. It didn't hurt
Samurai
me.
Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Catboy,
Yes,
it
yes.
high place.
No.
Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Slicer 338 fell from a high. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Samurai Slicer 300 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell
No,
from a
no, no,
high
no, no.
place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high. Catboy, it
forget
fell
to
from a high
jump.
place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Okay, gonna cheat.
Catboy, it fell from a high place. Slicer 338 fell from a high.
Yes.
Samurai Slicer 300 fell
No.
from a high place.
You did it. No.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Ah,
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a
no,
high
I'm doing
place.
this legit. No teleports.
I didn't listen.
Samurai
You did.
Slicer
You cheated.
338
You found
fell
the
from a
blocks.
high place.
Yeah, you did. You found the blocks and then you went down.
That was only once.
Yeah, but that's
Samurai
cheating.
Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Because it's not technically the dropper. But I don't care if I cheat. I just need to get this done. Skeleton, leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Yes, 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 yes. Get out of my way.
Yeah, you made it. I told you you got this.
Yeah, but that was on the one where I didn't make it.
Hi, Mom, Dad. This is Max and Phoebe, Max's twin sister. I just love MMA. You two look like a couple of awesome welterweights.
Yes, we are. You know your stuff. I'm Debbie. This is Gary.
And
Samurai
Fall
Slicer
down.
338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place.
Okay, are you on phase 4? No, we're on phase 5. Look, I'm not going the wrong way.
okay, wrong way.
How are we supposed to go that way?
You have been teleported to Catboy. Teleported Samurai Slicer 338 to Cat.
There.
Windpipe, Jinx, you owe me a protein shake.
So Phoebe's talking to my parents. When are you gonna step in?
As soon as Phoebe lets me get a word in.
It's just gonna fall. It's sand.
Anyway, let's see.
Dude, stop trying to place it. It's just gonna fall. It's sand. Okay. Sector 2.
Bye.
Phase 5. Toxic fall.
Toxic fall.
Whoa!
What is Whoa. Oh god.
Ah,
Go first.
ah, ah.
Samurai Slicer 308 fell from a high.
Come on. First try?
What?
Syntax error. Expected P. At Atboy at P.
Mine. First try, what the heck?
Teleported Catboy to Samurai Slicer 338.
Where are you going to tell me I am bad?
Chances she'll call me Booty.
I said you're good.
Chloe, we have something for you. Ooh, an owl. Not just
I don't
any
do
owl.
anything.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
This will be wrong place. Kill me, jumping.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy it was slain by zombie.
Help me carry my groceries.
We don't care.
Catboy it fell from a high place.
That was funny. I don't remember Hootie harassing grandmas.
You can't just use that.
Boy it fell from a high.
That's stealing. We don't care.
No, I'm just gonna. Oh, cheat, I'm gonna use these ender pearls to get up.
Maybe we shouldn't have shown that to Chloe.
Whoa!
Good kid. I don't think we have anything to worry about. Chloe don't care. Chloe don't care.
Okay, come on, we have to complete this level.
Catboy it fell from a high place.
Why do they have to make me do this again?
Set the world spawn point to
This, that's not even the right
985,
level.
106, 19.
Once again, this is
Oh,
upside
I
down
did that
world.
so you
Somebody
can
like
go
Stevie.
face.
We're good here. Later.
Teleported Catboy it to Samurai Slicer 338. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high. Catboy it fell from a high place.
Yes, yes. No!
Samurai Slicer 338 fell place.
Come on.
Catboy it fell from a high place. Catboy it fell from a high.
Woo, woo, yes, 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 yes.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
No!
Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Samurai
No, I
Slicer
can't.
338 fell from a high place.
No, I can't.
Samurai
No, I
Slicer
can't.
338 fell from a high place.
I can't.
Yes, can.
I can't.
Yes, can.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally can. I know you can do it.
Let's go. Go. Up the elevator, on to stage 6.
Go to the elevator.
This is gonna get really, really hard.
Yeah. 2 falls. Yeah, that was.
And Ender Pearl.
I'm sure they didn't mean it.
No, I want the Blundermans out of here now. Never see that again.
Catboy it fell. Samurai Slicer
Wait,
338
me first.
from a high place. Catboy it fell from a.
Get first try.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
I hit you off.
Catboy it fell from a high place.
You make me go a little farther.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from.
Why do you do that?
Samurai Slicer 338 fell.
What?
Wait, I'm not dead.
I did it while we were in
Catboy
the
it
middle
fell
of the
from a
air.
high place.
I think I can convince Allison's parents to let you.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell place.
Go.
Catboy it fell from a
No!
high place. Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy it fell from a high place.
Yes!
You did it?
Mhm.
Catboy it
Come on,
fell.
you can do it.
I can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't.
You can.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
Catboy it fell
Here,
from
I
a
got
high
this.
place.
I mean, you got this. You got this, man. Come on. You got this. Nope.
Catboy from a high.
Everything else to get ready to
Go, you're crouching. That's why you can't do it.
turn things around.
Catboy it fell from a
Okay.
high.
Guess the crouching didn't
It's
do it.
okay. Still got
Catboy it
this.
fell from a high
Yep.
place.
You can do it.
Stop crouching. I can't stop crouching in this game.
Catboy it fell from a high place.
I still need to do this.
Catboy it fell from a high place.
We gotta fix her before Mom and Dad find out about this. Who looked at that?
Level 6.
Who's her master?
Catboy it fell from a high place.
She's gotta put her foot
I'm
down.
just gonna keep on going until I do it.
Get up here.
Catboy it fell from a high place.
So close.
We've had enough of this, young lady.
Catboy it fell from a high.
More Chloe don't care. And no more Hootie. That was a mistake.
Catboy it fell from a high place.
So
And stand.
Catboy, it fell from a high.
I was so close.
You can't lock us out.
Finally.
Chloe don't care.
You showed her, Moody, the hook.
It's pronounced owl.
We specifically told you not to show her. Hey, my super hiccups
Remember
are gone.
Just like we planned.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place.
Now, face.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a place.
I want to be
Wrong
Alice's
place.
boyfriend again?
Oh, boy.
Forget it. Not after what you and your sister did. Phoebe isn't my real sister. She was raised by a pack of wolves.
Is it my turn?
No, it's my turn.
She went back to her wolf family and you'll never see her again.
Hello, it's me again. Gary W. I messed up yesterday.
Wanna play my first
Hey, I'm doing it.
Wait, you
Catboy, it fell from a high place. Catboy, it.
Laryngitis,
Really?
stops and goes.
Yes, yes, I can. I'll
Samurai
get back to you.
Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Right. Come on. Open up the fighting cage in your heart and let me in.
You wouldn't last 2 seconds in my heart cage.
Set the world spawn point to 3013, 106, minus 20. Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it died.
Daisy is a
Catboy, it joined the game.
fighter. You couldn't handle it.
You guys know.
I just got a
Cat boy died. Yes, yes,
Catboy,
I
it
got
fell
it,
from
I
a
got
high.
it. Yes!
Did it first try?
No, my 80th.
But you're still
Other mobs.
Samurai
No!
Slicer
No, you didn't.
338
That-
was slain
no,
by
that was
zombie
second try.
villager.
Okay, so try it.
I'm teleporting to you because technically I did do it. Just zombies killed me. So
working. What a stupid plan.
You have been teleported to Catboy, it. Teleported Samurai Slicer
take a pork chop to the
338 to Catboy, it.
Are you dead? Okay, let's why am I falling in the water?
Daisy.
Well, name would have been helpful earlier.
Chloe, come on. We've been out here long enough. We need to talk about this.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
That's it. I am breaking the door down.
Hank, it doesn't matter if we're inside or outside. The problem is she stopped caring. We need to
Teleported Catboy, it to Samurai Slicer 338. Catboy, it fell from a high place.
Don't make me get out of the game again.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell place. Cat fell from a high place.
ah,
Slicer 338 fell from a
We all know what she's going to say.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
Hank, sound like you're coming down with a cold.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Super Steve. Hold on a second. Chloe, you came outside.
I was worried about my family.
Oh, that's sweet, honey, but Daddy's fine.
Not you. Dad. You hear that, Billy? She cares again.
That's great.
Max, what are you doing here?
Is that Phoebe in the cage?
Yeah, we can't make things right with your parents, and I'm afraid this was the only way. Get crazy, Daisy!
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
They're fighting for our relationship. Shouldn't that be you?
Well, I can't risk my face.
Catboy, it fell from a high
I'm the
place.
kiss of a Norse god and the lips of an Amazonian princess.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
woo,
I want you to have
Harvard.
a conversation with my parents.
No!
Samurai Slicer 300 fell from a high place. Boy, it fell from a high.
Weird, but not this hard. Here,
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
No! No!
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
like me,
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
already don't like me, so I'm
This
just
is
gonna tell you how I really feel.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Oh, so
Catboy, it
hard.
fell from a high place.
Is I really like you.
Finally.
You splitting
Okay, I
us
did
up
it.
broken my heart.
What? A skeleton? A skeleton knows how. A skeleton? These mobs are huge.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Don't kill me, you skeleton. I want to do this again. Don't kill me.
Catboy, it was shot by air.
No! Why that skeleton has to kill me? I don't have
Yes,
to
I got it, I got it.
kill him again.
Let the health regenerate.
Oh my god.
Catboy, it fell from a high.
Ugh. Why do we have to do that?
Never ever see my Alley Wally again.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
I just go for that.
Just don't understand parents.
Why that skeleton has to make me do this?
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
What is wrong with you guys? That was really hard for him. He never talks to adults without insulting them, but he didn't make fun of you.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
Cat's a job you call a haircut or a paintball face. Was that loud?
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
The point is, Max is a great guy.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
He's fun, he's smart. One day he's gonna take over the world.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place. Catboy, it fell from a high place.
No!
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Yes, yes. No, no.
Samurai Slicer 338 fell from a high place.
Suppose if we have to
Yes.
engage somebody,
Oopsie.
it'll be this.
Sorry!
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
Oh,
Even if he was completely wrong about my sweet, sweet
oh.
mother.
Catboy, it fell from a high place.
So sweet.
You know what to do, Jalen.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Oh, Phoebe, get out of there. Alice and I are back together.
Finally.
Oh.
Get up from in front of the TV with the stuff and pick up the cup off the floor.
Doing what?
Pick up the cup off the floor.
There's a creeper in there.
Did you all get something? Where did you brush your teeth? That toothbrush that you left is upstairs in the back.
Oh, yeah. Dang it, I forgot to get a toothpaste.
Huh?
We don't need toothpaste. We're talking.
Yeah, there's
I know, but like, the mint is too strong.
It's not too strong. It's good for bacteria. That's what it's right on. It's cleaning bacteria in your mouth.
Catboy, it fell